If I were to give you $1 million today, how long will it last? Statistics already suggest that a lot of people would lose it within a few years. And that's not because they are careless, but because they were never built to keep it. So here is a question for you to think about today. All those things that you're praying for, do you think you can sustain them when they happen in your life? And this is usually the part that we do not like to hear. We love the promises, we love all the good things of life, but we hate to go through the process that will build in us the systems to be able to sustain our heart desires. What if I told you that the reason why you have an unanswered prayer is not because God said no, but because you can't handle it spiritually, emotionally, structurally. And if He gave it to you now, you would lose it. So we don't like process, but we like results. We like the promises. We like the manifestations. Of course, who doesn't want that, right? But process, nah. Can we skip to the good part? A lot of times we are so into the manifestation. We're so fixated on that. That's what we would rather have. But we do not like to go through the fire to get to that fine piece of metal. There is nothing fun about the process. And come on, I am with you on that. The waiting, the stretching, the correction, the exposure, the pruning, and all of that. We do not like to go through that. And many of us are asking God, why all these? Well, let me tell you why. Increase without capacity is a very dangerous place to be. Think about lottery winners, for example. When you look at the body of research about a lot of these lottery winners, you find that a lot of them come back to ground zero in just a few years. Mind you, these are people that sometimes won tens of millions of dollars and they are back to buying lottery tickets again in just a few years. Why would a man that won, even if it's just $1 million, I don't know what country you're watching from, but I'm in Canada and $1 million is a fairly good amount of money. So you have a man or a woman or a family that won such a great amount of money, and within a few years, it's like they never even won in the first place. Why? Because there was increase in wealth, but there was no increase in capacity. So in as much as it's so fantastic for you to have great results in your life about whatever it is that you're praying for, some of us are praying for things that our current capacity would not be able to hold it. Some of us are praying for things that our current state of mind would not be able to maintain it. Let's talk about David, for example. This is a man that after he was anointed, he was still taking care of animals. He was still killing the lion. He was still killing the bear. Why? Because his capacity was being worked on. Now imagine that you have been anointed by God's servant. God has chosen you, but you're still in obscurity. That's not a fun place for anybody to be in. You know, in the field, David learned about responsibility. He learned about consistency. He learned about taking care of people. He learned about loyalty. He learned about protection. He learned so much about courage that when he heard the way Goliath was talking to the people of God, he was like, who is this uncircumcised Philistine? The audacity he had. Naturally, David should be very timid. He was a child that was ignored, that was not treasured by his father. So he was not wasting his time. Process doesn't mean you're wasting your time. Process doesn't mean you're wasting away. The process builds a capacity that would be able to hold the crown. That is why even though Saul was disobedient and stubborn, David was still doing mighty things without being a king in the palace. He was the king everywhere else. So recently I was listening to someone and it was so interesting and such a powerful moment for me, because she talked about in her life she never struggled to make money. She always made money, but at some point she noticed that she was only making a certain amount, so she now had to figure out how to multiply it. So how many of us don't have a problem with making money? So it was really wonderful to see that she had conquered that phase of her life. And that is what process does to you. Process gives you the ability to replicate your results over and over again. somebody reaches out to you and you're able to give the person the steps that once that person is dedicated to those steps, the person is able to replicate the exact same results that you have. That is what process does to you. Process helps you build systems that would maintain that progress that you make. So you didn't just dabble into prosperity. You are somebody that you know what you're supposed to do. You know the system that you have put in place. And let me tell you something about building systems. Systems are not emotional, but they produce mighty results. Systems are not about I don't feel like doing it or I feel like doing it. It's just about producing results. Now to one of my favorite characters in the Bible, Joseph. This is a man that God had shown that you're going to be so great, but there was a lot of work that needed to be done in him. First of all, the way and manner with which he spoke needed to be handled. Second of all, I love the way my pastor shared it. My pastor was like, Joseph was so dealt with. He went through the process so much that when he interpreted the king's dream, and the king was like, okay, who can we put in place of this to, implement the system that you have come up with? He was not even willing to volunteer himself. This is a man that process have shown him life. He has seen life. He has gone through it. But the Joseph of years ago, before, being sold into slavery, Potiphar, and the prison and all of that, he would be like, here I am, use me. I'm the man for the job. But process has so dealt with him that he did not really see value in all of that. All he cared about was his relationship with God and just being obedient to God. Process makes you ready for the scale of your calling. If you do not go through process, you will not be able to have system. And if you don't have system, you don't really have anything. You won't be able to maintain anything. So process is what helps you keep the blessing. Because it's one thing to receive a blessing. It's another thing to maintain it. And even a greater thing to multiply it. So if you're in a season where God is stretching you, God is correcting you, asking you to change your habits, all of a sudden you're seeing things that you normally would do and it's not a problem, but now there's that poking. If you're in that season of your life, don't fight it. Ask yourself, what system is God trying to build in me right now? Because what feels like delay is actually a development. Let me leave you with this to ponder on. God is not just trying to bless you. He's trying to make sure the blessing stays with you and your household.